From the quiet opening to its loud ending, Le Samourai tricks you into thinking that you're following a straightforward story. A hitman does a job, he meets a girl, he gets arrested, those who contracted him want to eliminate him, and the girl ends up being the death of him. If you're watching it for the first time, it comes off as a standard noir offering. It has everything the noir films of the 40s and 50s had. The moody atmosphere, the main character whose wardrobe is directly inspired by Bogart, and a smoking Femme Fatale. But then you rewatch it and you start to notice things. You start to peer beneath the nostalgic noir atmosphere. You start asking questions. You start to wonder what's going on with Jeff Costello. Are the police in league with the guys who hired him to kill Martey? What does the piano player know? What's going on with all the keys? For a character who only speaks at most 3 sentences in the movie, Martey is quite influential. He's a club owner who seems to either have mob connections or he's made some people very, very angry. One of those people is Ray, who hires Jeff to carry out the assassination. In any other movie, the screenwriter or the director might try to show their homework. They might explain ad nauseam what Martey did to deserve his death. We don't get that in Le Samourai. We see him for the first and last time when Jeff Costello walks into his office and shoots him. The fact that Jeff Costello's life starts to unravel after this act is what makes Martey mysterious. Why are his murderers so keen to make sure that Jeff never speaks? What's hidden behind this act of contract killing? Who are these people and what are they trying to achieve? I don't have answers for you, by the way. I'm sorry. The movie reveals nothing. This is not a characteristic that's common in film noir. Film noir usually starts with a mystery, or a mystery develops over the course of a movie. And by the end, the great detective reveals to us what happened. Le Samourai doesn't afford us that comfort. Even the police in this movie are kind of mysterious. What does the lead detective know, and how does he know it? This question bothers me a lot. I got so lost in my theories that I ended up concluding he must be in cahoots with Ray, the man who hired Jeff Costello. However, if you pay close attention, you'll realize that this is not the case. He's in fact just a good detective. He states that Jeff Costello's alibi is too airtight. This is the main source of his gut feeling. To him, Jeff is the murderer because he tried too hard to make sure that all of his time that night was accounted for. The detective also notices a connection between Jeff and Valerie, the piano player. She's meant to be the main witness, but they end up getting close after that night. This further proves his theory that Jeff has something to hide. The main mystery to me is the ending. I know the police were tailing Jeff, but I still can't convince myself of the fact that they were already waiting for him when he walks into the club. Why would they be waiting? They had lost him earlier, which gave him the chance to kill Ray. So how did they know that he would come into the club and try to kill Valerie? What kind of profiling would cause the lead detective to come to this conclusion, when hours earlier, he believed that Valerie was Jeff's lover? This being said, I don't mind the ending. It's in fact expected for film noir. However, I can't help but wonder if there's something else going on. Something that has nothing to do with good police work. Something more mysterious. Valerie is a rather complex character. In film noir classics like The Maltese Falcon or The Big Sleep, she'd be a femme fatale who tries to lead our detective main character to his doom. In this movie, our main character isn't a detective but a hitman. Therefore, even the femme fatale isn't as fatal. She's just a girl who's caught between 3 forces. Ray, who's her lover, the police who believe she has something to hide, and Jeff Costello. There are clues all over the movie that she knows why Martey got killed. She promises to tell Jeff something but doesn't pick up the phone when he calls. Ray will then hire Jeff to kill her. This proves that Valerie knows too much and is probably the only character who can explain the movie's inciting incident. I believe that the lead detective got to her somehow. He'd already tried his routine on Jeff's girlfriend. Valerie is leading a much richer life than Jen, and she's just a piano player. The detective must have pressured her to give up Jeff, or to reveal that she knew him before he killed Martey or something like that. Yet, even at the end she's still mysterious. She doesn't make a fuss when Jeff pulls the gun on her. She just asks why. In my opinion, she knows that the police are there already, blending into the club's crowd. She probably believes that Jeff is there to kill her. The lead detective believes that too. But what does Jeff believe? When Martey inquires about his identity, just before he shoots him, Jeff's response is that his identity doesn't matter. Who he is isn't as important as what he's there to do. He's there to kill Martey. Future films that cover Hitman will take this core idea and run away with it. A foggy background is needed when constructing an assassin's identity. If we know who he is, we can explain why he's out there killing. He becomes human. A good Hitman isn't that. He can't be unstoppable if we know where he came from. Even then, Jeff Costello is the most mysterious hitman put to screen. He's definitely earning good money, yet he lives in a dingy apartment with no creature comforts outside of his pet bird. He doesn't seem interested in anything else. Even his supposed girlfriend exists only for alibis. The only break from his steadfast pattern is Valerie. He obsesses over her. He goes to the club just to stare at her, and even that is done with impressive discipline. Any other man would spend the entire night there drinking, listening to her play. Jeff enters the club, pays for a whiskey, stares at her momentarily, leaves without touching the whiskey, and waits for her outside. So who is Jeff Costello? Other hitmen get military backgrounds. Some get voice-overs touting their invisibility. Jeff gets nothing. No one can read him. If the detective hadn't picked him up in the initial arrests, he would never have found him. Even when he thinks he's caught him in the act of murder, turns out to be some sort of self-sacrifice. So who is he? What kind of archetype is he? The answer to Jeff's identity is given at the start of the film. Jean-Pierre Melville, the director, thinks of Costello as a samurai who's embodying a specific code of honor. Bushido is this code of honor. The quote at the start of the movie touts solitude as a quality that samurais are comfortable with. This is obviously a romanticization of what samurais were, a Western pop culture trope that endures to this day. Jeff is an amalgamation of different ideas, some historical, some romanticized. He dresses like Humphrey Bogart, yet he never acts like him. He doesn't even try to emulate him. I respect the filmmaker for this decision. His mysterious background reminds me of the unknown identity of Yojimbo's main character. Although unlike Yojimbo, Le Samurai is a much more restrained and quiet movie. The best comparison I could think of was Bogart's In a Lonely Place. Not in structure, not in plot, but in the theme of solitude. While Jeff Costello's solitude seemed to arise from his code of honor, or his line of work, he also finds a girl he likes. For a moment, it feels like this will change him or his way of life. It doesn't. In a Lonely Place, Bogart also finds a girl he likes but loses her. Mostly because the detective paints Bogart as a cold-blooded killer, and also because in that movie Bogart is a loose cannon. In the end, both Bogart and Costello cannot escape their solitude. They are forever trapped in their tragic personas. Even if they explain themselves, the women they love would never accept them fully. There would always be lingering doubts. They would always end up alone with their pets or their books, watching life go on without them.